Nature distances individuals of all the species enduring on the planet Earth, either as male or female, who live together for a shorter time span, or for a lifetime, partaking in building up of a population by courtship and mating. Both male and female individuals are well acquainted with an exceedingly advanced reproductive system that becomes fairly intricate and condensed in females in comparison to males, as females bear the child load in their wombs. Although females play a vivacious role in raising a child from birth till adulthood, they face copious hardships. Some are known and some unknown. Every day millions of girls face analogous circumstances, and at times conditions are so deteriorated that they are abused badly by their partners, making the survival a burning hell. Nobody asks this question to a male who has slept with so many girls before marriage. Virginity is a very punitive social dishonor that has poisoned the minds of our societies, throbbing the lives of girls. From where does this question of virginity crops up? The answer to this question is existence of a very elusive membranous structure, hymen, which is torn during sexual intercourse, releasing a fluid allied to blood. Is it true that hymen makes a female a virgin? What if a female lacks hymen? Does it really breaks? There are plenty of such questions that frequently crawl in the minds of males and even some females. Inadequate knowledge, societal and cultural myths have actually hidden the truth lying between hymen and virginity. The hymen. The word hymen is derived from a Greek signifying a membrane, as well as the Greek god of marriage, where science calls it a very gentle membrane, covering the vaginal opening of a female, that may or may not be shed off during the first sexual intercourse. Since times immemorial, many cultures accentuate that a female experiences pain when during her first sexual intercourse, as her hymen is broken. Some also believe that an examination must be carried out to detect hymen in order to ascertain whether a female is a virgin or not. However, many others believe bleeding occurs when hymen is shed off. It can be easily envisaged that new husbands are well pleased to see the bloody sheets right after having first sexual intercourse with their wives. From the scientific viewpoint, hymen is not the key indicator of virginity of a female. The anatomy of hymen exposes that it is an insubstantial tissue effusively or moderately adjoining the external vaginal opening, creating a part of vulva, forming altered shapes in different females, but mostly crescentic in children. Sexual intercourse and parturition childbirth contrarily affect hymen. For instance, if hymen is elastic, it may recuperate its original position, while in other cases only fragments are accessible, or it may also wane after recurrent penile penetration. A disease, an injury, medical examination, masturbation, or any physical exercise may cast their undesirable shadow on this fragile membrane, condemning the belief that it is pointer of virginity. Gloucester Keenrod can ascertain the presence and degree of hymen rift. Development of genital tract inaugurates from third week of gestation period to the second trimester, where hymen conceals vagina of female fetus. Urethral septum is formed separating the rectum from urogenital sinus in the 7th week. MLLERIAN ducts reach the urinogenital sinus, forming uterovaginal canal joining the urinogenital sinus in the 9th week. During 12th MLLERIAN ducts fuse together, forming an aboriginal uterovaginal canal, or an area and vaginal canal is finally formed during the 5th month, where fetal hymen is poised of sinovaginal bulbs, becoming whole before or shortly after birth. Hymen of the newborn babies is pale pink, thick and redundant due to action of mother's hormones, which continues till the age of 2 to 4 years, as infant's body produces its own hormones, making their hymenal opening annular. With further advancement of age, hymen becomes thin, smooth, delicate, as well as translucent, becoming very sensitive to touch and liable to be ruptured. Later diameter of hymenal opening amplifies approximately 1 mm every year, which at puberty can be further inflated by tampon, pelvic examinations, physical activity, or sexual intercourse. It is clear that once a girl reaches puberty, the hymen becomes very elastic. A survey signpost that only 43% females underwent bleeding during first sexual intercourse, signifying that hymen of majority of females is satisfactorily eclectic. Hymenal opening procures different shapes in prepubescent girls, proposing that it is austerely under hormonal control and lifestyle, where most common shape is crescentic. Estrogen and activity levels can make hymenal tissue thicker after puberty. In cases of rape or child sexual abuse, examination of hymen can be steered. Torn hymen heals hastily in younger children. After childbirth, vaginal opening often shows hymenal tags labeled as prosenfroides. Hypoplasia, canalization defect, lateral fusion and failure of resorption cause various complications detrimental to the female reproductive system. Imperforate hymenal opening entails minor surgery if it fails to become perforated at puberty, as it precludes escape of menstrual fluid. Cribriform or microperforate hymenal opening carries very small openings, however, septate one bears countless tissue bands. Some cultures exceedingly value intact hymen at marriage as gauge of virginity. Some women undertake hymenplasty to reinstate their dented hymen to verify they are virgins. Medical experts of the 16th century employed hymen as a tool to pinpoint hysteria. Many mammals like chimpanzees, manatees, whales and horses too hold hymen. Universal myths. Abundant myths exist in different cultures, portraying hymen as the icon of spotlessness, obligatory to be cracked at the first night of marriage, but the reality discloses it as a very subtle mucosal tissue, lining the vaginal opening, procuring different shapes and maybe thin, elastic, thicker and less stretchy. Flow of menstrual blood from the vaginal opening is actually allowed by this fragile membrane, lying 1 to 2 cm deep inside vagina, and putting a finger inside vaginal canal easily infiltrates the cervix without damaging it. Some females contemplate that this tissue must break at the first penile penetration, but this first time belief is a myth, as in many females full penile penetration ensues after several partial penetrations, where hymen only expands, becoming bendable enough so as to accommodate penis. In some females a small amount of this tissue may break out, but this may not necessarily happen for the very first time. Sexual intercourse must occur when a female is aroused, relaxed, lubricated, where the penetration must be done slowly. If it is the first time, as in such cases, question of bleeding can be ignored. Forceful penetration may upshot in bleeding, however, some women bleed due to non-flexible nature of their hymen. According to one myth, hymenal tissue vanishes after having sexual intercourse, but truth forecasts that this tissue never wanes, but simply stretches, becoming squeaky as time moves on. Inserting something into vagina will break hymen, as a myth elucidates, but in reality stretching with slight tearing occurs after introducing any entity analogous to the wideness of penis, like a dilator or dildo, but it never breaks. However, tampons or applicators with yeast infection are too constricted to cast their effect on hymenal tissue. Some cultures state that if hymen is spoiled before marriage, the female is no longer a virgin, but such belief is sternly a myth and has no correlation with virginity. Virginity is not having experienced penis in vagina. Some women believe that if their hymen is intact they can't become pregnant, but any female can conceive unless and until she is not using any birth control measure. Her partner ejaculates near or inside vagina and she is free from any reproductive system malady. Physical exercise like riding a bicycle can cause pressure of the perineum or the vaginal opening and may affect hymen, but it is also not very true, as the pressure needed to rupture hymen must be internal. Some females think if they will not bleed during first night, they will not deliberate it as virgins, but no one can tell whether any female has experienced penetrative sex or not. Every woman's hymen reacts differently, as in some, it remains intact even after penetrative experiences, while in others first penetration is very easy without pain and bleeding. Some cultures treat females very bad if they do not bleed, and such practice is inhuman. There sense a need of shift from narrow mental level to reconnoiter the verity, as females too have a right to live, express and soar high. Myths wrecked, reality exposed. Carol Roy, a nursing professor at the Hunter College and a nurse practitioner specialist in adolescent primary and reproductive health, recently published an article on Hymen in the Women's News, also reprinted at Our Bodies Ourselves, dooming all the myths about this tissue and sturdily commends girls to alter their thinking of bleeding at first night. Hymen is not a flat piece of tissue casing vagina as if it were the case girls would have failed to menstruate, but it surrounds vagina. Some girls are even born without this tissue, while some have a negligible piece therefore. Bearing in mind that it is a critical body part is a myth. Roy explains that hymen can be torn during sex or any dogged physical activity, but never breaks, and torn areas may bleed, but not necessarily. Some of Roy's patients raise questions like whether riding a bicycle or use of tampons, or if a partner inserts a finger inside the vagina, can harm their hymens, making them de-virginized, whereas some parents ask to check whether their daughters are virgin. She simply tells them that it is not easy to tell whether a girl is virgin or not, and no one can actually tell whether the girl was born with hymen or not. She believes that virginity is actually a state of mind and how an individual takes it. Time to break out the cocoon. The concept of hymen still holds an emotional support, demanding a change. Virginity has nothing to do with hymen, but it is only a mental block that needs to be extricated. Some cultures treat females ruthlessly if they fail to bleed during first intercourse, and such cold-hearted violence against females must be clogged. It is therefore entreated to males as well as females to come out from their narrow belief that hymen is the dial of virginity, as some females are born without hymen, and if present it never breaks, but simply stretches during penile penetration, with different responses in different individuals. As long as we are committed to this social stigma, we will never be able to think on a broader perspective of living. Dear males, quit asking, "Are you a virgin?" to your brides, but love them, understand them, and care for them so that you can live happily as well as make this earth a healthy and cheerful place to live, because God has crafted every individual in His own image and has given the freedom of living.